Night again. Played two good football teams the last 2 weekends. Didn't come out with victory. Didn't play as good as we need to. Didn't play as clean as we need to. And again, I guess we'll look at the positive side of the ball first. Let's just talk the positives. I thought special teams has played at a high level. Just watching it with the team last night. Again, we let the whole room was full. And it's everybody, even if you didn't play one snap, we're watching special teams. And, I've been, there's always going to be one play. You're not going to be perfect at anything. There's always going to be one play, a week ago, missing a field goal. This week, putting a ball in the end zone, on a punt. And but when you look at just the whole picture of playing quality football on special teams, we've done that. Defensively, I thought we cleaned a lot of things up from that opener the week before. You got a team that rushed, I believe, some 50 sometimes, did a solid job. And again, as I sit in that defensive staff room watching the tape, there's things we can still do better that disappoint you as a coach. And again, we're never going to be happy as coaches, period. But there were some good things in that game. There were some good performances, some really, winning performances on the defense side of the ball. And I think anytime you hold an offense, it's averaging probably, 475, 500 a game, and you cut it down to 211. That's a good day. And again, talented football team. And then offensively, which I'm sure you guys got a lot of questions about, that wasn't good enough. And as I watch it with the offense staff, and I told you I probably have more answers, when you come back here on a Monday, as you watch it, it's everybody. And I know you guys don't want to hear that, but as I watch it, if I could sit there and say, it's this guy, and if we get rid of this guy, it's a problem, and it's not that. You go back and watch the tape like a coach, and watch, miss blocks, not only miss a block, but not go the wrong way on an offense line again, or tight end or tackle, whatever it may be. But those opportunities, and again, there's spots, we're getting 5 yards of carry, and we start off running the ball down the field. Why do we keep running the ball down the field? Because it was there, and we felt good. It was like, okay, let's go. Nobody goes into a game saying, let's run the ball 12 times, or 13 times, and we're not going to throw one down. That's not the plan. The plan was, you're having success, and it's like, let's go. You just keep going with the flow. You don't have a plan to do that. So. But it's receiver blocking, it's O-line blocking, it's tight end blocking. It's catching the ball. Like, you have to catch the ball. We have opportunities where we can catch the ball, and we don't catch the ball. There's opportunities to complete the pass and throw a better pass, and we don't complete passes. It's everything. And we obviously got to do a better job of making sure our quarterbacks are thrown under duress more in practice. Which we've discussed, and just whether it's just turning people loose, we try to stay away from the quarterback, and but we got to give our quarterbacks opportunities to throw under pressure, and then we're better off punting on second down if we're going to turn the ball over. Okay, and again, when you go back and look at the turnovers, which I couldn't see on the field, like what happened, why did he throw it there, and you don't see it until you really see the tape. I mean, first one is a hitch and a 7 route behind it on a sprint out pass, and they roll up the corner, so the hitch is taken care of, and they got a guy in the deep third on the 7 route. It's like, couldn't have been a worse coverage to have versus that pass concept. Sometimes they guess right. And then, we got to make better decisions. It's trying to force it in, try to feel like you got to make a play. And sometimes quarterbacks get to that point where, and it's the same thing I said last week with, receivers rushing the route. You try to make something happen, and you make nothing happen. You make, bad things happen. So we threw two interceptions, which cost you the game. And again, not just those two. There's all those other things I just got done talking about that'll hurt you. So without blabbering on and on, we got an incredible team coming in here this weekend, and it ain't getting any easier. I can tell you that. With North Carolina, well coached, Mac Brown football team, talented. Everybody knows who the quarterback May is. We all know him. He'll be a first or second round pick next year, period. Or first pick, I should say, second pick. And they got talent all around him. Chip Lindsey's new offense coordinator, so it's a different guy than last year. I think the O-line coach and the quarterback coach went to Wisconsin. So Chip Lindsey's a new guy, came from UCF, worked with Gus Malzahn for a long time. Very creative, does some great stuff. and again, he's got, one of the best, if not the best quarterback, NFL pro-style quarterback in the country. Then Gene Chizik's the defense coordinator. Again, we're going back to a 4 down, which, our guys are obviously a little bit used to that, but we're getting used to the 3 down here the last couple of weeks. But so we got to switch now, go back to a 4 down, protection schemes and all the rest of the things that go with the 4 down and talented. They got number 8 up front, D tackle. Murphy, that is all over the place. He's physical. He's twitchy. He's fast. He could be a game wrecker inside. There's another kid, the Rucker kid, number 25, the left. They're, I guess, left end. As we look at it, from the offense standpoint, that's really good. So again, it starts up front. I mean, I think they got 8 starters on offense, returning 9 on defense. So we got a veteran group coming in here. That's played a lot of snaps. So, questions?
Pat, I wanted to give you a chance to clarify something after the game. When I asked you about, Bayer and whether you guys had confidence, and you mentioned, you don't start down with people. You want to be positive, whether it's cornerback, a tackle, or quarterback. You don't dump players that quick into a season. But we have seen guys like Jason Collier and Philip O'Brien not start after being started in the season. Can you clarify the difference between maybe a situation like that and what you're?
So you want me to clarify the difference between a free safety and a quarterback? Yeah.
Giving someone else a chance at quarterback.
Yeah.
You said you don't do that across these other positions.
Yeah.
What's the difference in giving other guys chances versus giving another guy a chance at quarterback?
Right. Hey, you never know. But, I think the quarterback position is a totally different animal than any other position. Okay? Period. That's why I said you try to compare a quarterback to a safety, and to me, there's no comparison. We're going to rotate safeties in there, okay? You talk about a 2-quarterback system. You talk about a 4 safety system. I mean, you're rotating guys in there, and all of a sudden you find rotation you like. I just think the quarterback position is a totally different deal. And again, I'm not a quarterback whisperer. I'm not a quarterback guru, but I do believe from anywhere I've ever been that it takes time to gel with your guys. We've been juggling things up front. You guys can see there's a different starting offensive line every week. There's some missing pieces there. We haven't done our job to do the protection part of it, and we got to get Phil more opportunities to throw under duress in a practice situation. Period. And your scout teams aren't always going to do that. And maybe you go back in preseason camp in August, and maybe we should go live on the quarterbacks so you can really feel it, right? I mean, how dumb would that be when I come in here on a press conference every scrimmage and say we just lost our quarterback for the season? I mean, that'd be dumb. But it goes back to, you get what you practice. And I'll never go back to when, Ben Roethlisberger was a freshman, a rookie here, I should say, and I was at Miami, just hearing about all the drills they did with him of just, everybody talks about it, straight drop back, sit in the pocket, everything's perfect, right? Like pass Skelly, you just whoop, and we look really good when we do that and pass Skelly and complete 90% of your balls in practice, whatever it may be. But it ain't like that. It's not realistic in the game, and we got to do a better job offensively of cleaning that stuff up. And with Ben Roethlisberger, man, it was like throwing balls like this. Like who throws balls like that in practice? Nobody, right? But we probably got to go to that because that's kind of the game we're in right now. You watch NFL games, you watch college games late at night, whatever time it is. And quarterbacks are thrown under duress. So, we can do a better job coaching. And again, it starts with my butt of making sure things are as realistic as we can do with, keeping the safety there. So, good question, Chris. Yeah, Jerry, go ahead.
Sorry. Other than the fact that the things around him aren't going that well, what is keeping you from making a change at quarterback? And what is done to keep the job?
You know what? Jerry, he's a leader in that huddle. He's a guy you trust. You've seen it every day, and when you look back and you look at all the stats and all the numbers of what you put in a practice and what you put through camp and you put on paper, and what you've showed to do as far as not throwing interceptions in practice. Now, obviously, games are games. You just don't dump things like that. You just don't do it, and that's just a philosophy and where I'm coming from. So. Again, we're going to evaluate every day. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a big week of practice for everybody, including the quarterbacks. We got to get better.
How do you go about helping a quarterback or just an offense in general build more confidence after a couple of tough games in the middle of the season?
Yeah, early in the season. You just keep pressing. hey, life is not perfect. We all got issues on the outside and on the inside. You got family issues. Like it ain't perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect. Everybody would like to have a perfect world. It's not perfect. That's why they call us coaches, and we got to go fix it and try to make it as perfect as we can. And it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be. But we just got to make things we got to make things better. Period. And that's our job as coaches. And it starts with me and and the offense coordinator and every assistant coach on that staff, of making things easier. You got to throw completions. Let's make plays. Yeah, Amanda. I know you got a defensive question. I know you do.
I do not. Is there still support for Phil in the locker room?
No question about it. Again, I don't hang in the locker room, but I think, is there still support in the O-line room? Is there support in the tight end room? I think, again, as the offense sits right here every day, guys, and we sit in and have a unit meeting offensively, and Coach Six puts up, hey, these are the things, just look at it, Look at the quarterback. Look at the receivers. Look at the tight end here. Look at the O-line, and you look at it. There's not one guy on this side of the ball that's saying, "Hey, it's all his fault or it's all my fault." It's everybody's fault. I don't know if there's anybody. So when you talk about that, it's a team game, and our guys sit in this room, and again, we're together on that. And again, nobody can point the finger and say they did it. They played 100% or they didn't screw it up, because there's a lot of guys that didn't make plays on both sides of the ball. So. But as you watch it, you're kind of going, boy, if I'd have just made that block, I'm a receiver. If I just made that block, what happens? Watch out. If I'm a tight end, if I would have just blocked down instead of blocking out, what happens? There's not a run through, and you're not getting hit on 3rd and 3. And it's going to be a first down, then the clock's moving. What if I don't jump off sides on 4th and 1 on a quarterback sneak? What happens? Okay? So it's all over the tape, guys. And again, that's our job as coaches, to get that stuff fixed as best we can.
When it comes to that decision, either to stick with a guy or change a guy, are you deferring totally to Frank on that, or what's your level of input?
You know what? I told you already. I'm leaning on Frank and the offense staff to make the right decision and make decisions at every position. And those guys know better. I don't sit in there. I spend 85% of my time in the defense side of the room. Practice, I spend probably 85% of my time watching them, because I know I'm going to watch it with the defense and watch it with the offense and making sure we're getting what we need out there and seeing what, the tempo of the practice is. So,
Yeah, you said on Saturday that you felt like you guys protected Phil better this week than you did the week before. Do you still feel that way for Washington?
yeah, no doubt about it. You compare 5 sacks to 1 sack, okay? The numbers, if stats are worth a darn, did we protect them like we want to? No. Okay. I just go back to that last play of the game where we just get beat inside, and the quarterback gets whacked. That's you sit back there. I like to see anybody sit back there and take that. It's not easy. So it can't happen. You can't. It wasn't like there was no time to throw the ball. I don't care if you're under duress or not. So, but you gave up 1 sack. A week ago, we got 5. Okay. Plus, I forget how many. What I say last week? 21 hits. That game's long gone, just like this one's long gone. So, the focus last night turned. The chapters turned to North Carolina. We're not going to be looking backwards. We're looking forward to what we can do better as coaching staff and as players. So.
On the note of turning the page, in recent years, your team has done a really good job of bouncing back after some ugly losses. How have they been able to do that in the past, and how do you make that happen again this year?
Nothing's easy. I think we do a good job of, first of all, not throwing guys under the bus and saying it's all your fault, Jerry. I think that's the first thing. Because I think once you start pointing fingers, like fingers get pointed, then you got major issues, and then that's when you lose your locker room, as Amanda talked about. You lose your faith and belief and trust in what's going on. You trust it. We talk about steps to a championship. How do we win a championship? And there's these certain steps that we talk about, and one of the key ones in there is to never lose faith in what you're doing. Believe in the system and stick to your fundamentals in what we do as a program, and you don't change it. Well, we got to stop doing that. You don't bail and change a defense when the defense is not going good. You just stick with what you do, and it will get better. That's what you do.
That defense played well on this whole night, Saturday night.
Not all night.
They played well. Let's just put it that way. They're at 18 tackles and safety. When the safety's going to have many tackles, is something going more in front of them? How's the safety get 18 tackles?
he's playing really well. He's playing at a high level. Again, in our quarter system, okay, in our system, we're going to get enough guys in the box, okay? The free safety usually has a detached receiver out there, Jerry, and he's out playing in space. Where Donovan is what they call a strong safety, so he's in the box, okay? So we walk it back, again, I don't get into football specifics, way too much here, and I don't have a grease board. But if one of our backers just walked out, depending on the formation, our boundary safety is a kind of a box fitter. And he's done a nice job. I mean, I tell you what, he's flying all over the field too. He's making not only plays on this side of the field, but he's running over there too. There's some great efforts by Donovan, and obviously he had a winning performance. I'm not giving out grades here, but he played exceptional, and we expect our safeties to make those tackles when they have the opportunities. They're doing, they're cracking. I mean, the receivers will come in and crack on the safeties. He did a phenomenal job of being where he's supposed to be. And, again, next week he might have two. It all depends on what they're doing. I mean, they ran the ball a lot, as we know, and which is what we expected coming in. I mean, they've had almost 50 carries in every game so far this year with Neil Brown, calling those plays. So this week it'll be a little bit, this week we're going to go from playing the wishbone and run to, first or second pick in the draft, throwing it wherever he wants to, because he can make every throw. Pressure doesn't bother the guy because he can really run. He's elusive and, not a quarterback run guy, but it's a, scramble to throw the football down the field and get first downs if he has to.
I think you guys have 9 sacks through 3 games, which, you guys get after the quarterback, but not at the pace that you guys have in the past 5 years. What needs to happen to maybe increase that pace more on the defense getting after the quarterback, or maybe the offense giving them chances to defend leads so that they can be more aggressive?
You can say it's a little bit of both. I mean, obviously if it's a tight game, and forget this game, but just being in tight games, if they're running the ball and having success, and we always talk about one-dimensional, okay? The last 2 weeks we've not made a team one-dimensional. I guess you could say, they were one-dimensional, but you wish we would have smothered them and they had 90 yards rushing in a perfect world, and they would have had to throw it. But we didn't. We let them just kind of get to those 4th and 1 situations or quarterback sneaks and stuff. So, that's all. That's all part of it. But again, sacks are sacks. They got to be thrown a lot. I mean, if you looked at, I think we got 2 sacks last weekend. How many times they passed the ball? Okay, so again, I have no idea. EJ, how many times? 10. So that's 20% sacks. Okay, so 20% of the time we're sacking the quarterback. That's not terrible. But if they're two-dimensional, then you got problems. If you make a team one-dimensional, I mean, how many times did you see us go out in a nickel on a 3rd down and long? You couldn't. And then the other thing is, people, you see more and more people going forward on 4th down, correct? Okay, which means a 3rd medium and 3rd long becomes a run down because they know they got an extra down wherever they're on the field. So, we call that, they're sequencing downs, and then becomes another. Now it's where 3rd and 7 used to be 100% pass or 90% pass. Now it's 50-50, and nobody wants to stick another little DB out there to stop the run. So you kind of are stuck a little bit, and you're not into some great pass rush defenses. So those are all things that we'll have to worry about this weekend as well, because North Carolina does the same thing.
On the note of facing, run-first offenses in the past couple of weeks, how do you go about preparing your secondary to face not only a pass-heavy offense, but a really talented quarterback like that?
That's why we're going from the triple option to the spread with the best quarterback in the country, probably arguably would be shocked if he's the first pick next year, regardless of who wins a Heisman Trophy and all that baloney. When they do all their their evaluations on character. I mean, the kid's an unbelievable young man. So Drake is a phenomenal quarterback, and I don't know how we do it, but that's what we practice for, and we won't be perfect. I can promise you that. He's going to make his throws like he did last year. The first thing I'd say is, when you look at last year compared to this year, the change happened when we didn't get pass rush and Cansey went down. You don't forget some of those things, and because May can scramble, we lost our faith in doing what we needed to do. Okay, and that'll never, to me, why did we get smoked? It was because we stopped doing the little things right in coverage, and just because he's scrambling and maybe we're not putting pressure on him, we got to hold true to who we are and do what you're supposed to do. Don't start to. And again, it's no different than anybody else does. You know, it's thrown into coverage. Hey, I got to go make a play, so I'm going to not cover EJ, and I'm going to come over here and do this, and then all of a sudden it just trickles down all the way to the DB. So I know our secondary is excited about the opportunity based on last year. I know Coach Sanders, Coach Collins are up for the challenge, and obviously Coach Manlack and you know the linebacker coach, because those linebackers become really, really critical covering up the safeties and everything they can do in the passing game.
That is kind of elusiveness that really separates him from other fifth-run quarterbacks. The elusiveness, his ability to move around. The pocket.
Yeah, he's just so smooth and you know, and he's fast too. I mean, he's you know, he's deceivingly a fast guy for a big guy. So he's got the whole package.
Would you say their defense is better this year?
You know what? You know, you want me to be honest with you? I watched a whole lot. Okay, I know who those guys are up. I know the front four is going to be the key. You know, I'll have more for you on Thursday because I usually take a couple games. But you know, just keep my nose where it's supposed to be, right? I mean, help where you can help where you're best helping. I try to help out the defense as much as I can, and but then I'll watch a couple games and go, hey, how about this? How about that? And then they'll say, Coach, we can't do that. And I was like, okay, good, and then we'll move on.
How was Phil's demeanor on Sunday?
Good. Good.
Notice any?
No. Good.
Coach, in terms of the running backs, it seems like you've been rotating between Sebo, Daniel, and Rodney. Do you expect that to kind of continue into UNC this weekend?
Great question. It's, you know, I'm probably not going to tell you today, but you know, we'll see how they practice. But you know, obviously, you know, Rodney got the load of the carries last week, but Daniel's been the third down back. But that third down back better make plays with his hands too. You got opportunities to make some plays. You got to make them, and so we'll look at that, you know, just like anything else, and we'll see where we are at the end of the week.
And the final one. Anyone?
Pat, are you at all concerned about Phil's psyche going into this game after having 2 rough games and he was booed against, while there were boos from the home crowd?
Yeah, who are they booing? I think they were booing me, just so we're on the same page. Did they say boo Phil or boo Coach? Like there's boos, you know, so I don't know who they were at, but at least from what I hear, because I don't hear those things with my headphones on, and I'm not sure our kids really do either. You know, I'm sure someone said something to him or to me or whatever and said there was boos. You know, I think there was boos in the first game. Someone said, correct? Against, I mean, like, you know, we're in Boo City, so Boo City, PA. But you know, again, I think we talked about that, you know, a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I don't know when it was, but you know, hey, it is what it is. If that's what they want to do, that's great. It should not affect us or our psyche.
Coach, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Just like those guys in the basement, Jerry, right?
For those who are
Thanks.
doing the late night game tonight, get some rest.